And action. John had a question about probiotics, specifically about what if probiotics that Spore are worth it. But I have done tutorials on probiotics, so I'll put them down below. DrRic tutorial probiotic 1 and 2. Check them out. However, if this is the first time you're finding me, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the alert button to find out when I produce more videos. So, while we're on the subject here, I've talked about digestive enzymes in the past in one of my minute clinics. And anti-inflammatory lifestyle, I have done a tutorial on anti-inflammatory living. Prebiotics, I haven't talked about probiotics. I have fecal microbiota transplants or fecal transplants. Sounds nasty, that's why I did this in brown. I don't know if you can see this or not, but anyway, all those things are important. The cool thing is, if you look at some of the ideas, going straight to the bottom of my list, on fecal microbiota transplants or fecal transplants, in mice and in humans, we found that when you take the DNA of those bacteria found in the colon of an obese patient and you put that fecal transplant stuff into the into the colon of a skinny patient, they'll gain weight. Same thing with the mice and vice versa, which is kind of cool, but it just goes to show you that all that DNA, and there's more DNA in our gut than we have of human DNA in our body, all that DNA has an effect emotionally, physically, biochemically to our system. So if you're full of bad crap, if you're full of bad bacteria, you will have inflammation. If you're full of good bacteria, you are a wrecking machine that will destroy all disease. I like, if in case you want some more detailed information, I like Gerald Mullen's book. Even gives you lists of prebiotics that you can take advantage of. Pretty cool, with a foreword by Andy Weil, my teacher from the University of Arizona. However, bottom line with the use of probiotics is, well, you need a prebiotic to inhabit the gut before you use a probiotic. So this is something I've mentioned in my tutorials. You can't just take a probiotic and assume everything will be cool. You have to take care of getting food digested. That's why I put digestive enzymes. If you don't have any, you eat them. You have to practice an anti-inflammatory lifestyle, because if you're taking down a lot of alcohol, tobacco, carcinogens, pesticides, bad food, processed food, highly processed food, or food that you're allergic to, or that the general human population is allergic to, gluten, dairy, maybe, you're going to be causing inflammation. You're going to be swelling everything from the stomach on down. And that's not going to be a good environment for a probiotic to exist. You got to get the soil ready before you plant the seed. So that's why you have to take care of disease. And this anti-inflammatory lifestyle is very important, even in the form of relaxation or meditation, because meditation will control the secretion and the movement, the peristalsis of the digestive system, the secretion of enzymes in the digestive system, the secretion of mucus to protect the stomach against its own acids in the digestive system. So that's very important, in addition to practicing mostly whole food, plant-based diet. So it is important to do all that stuff. As far as prebiotics, yes, you need this stuff to line the gut before you send in the probiotics. So a lot of us, because of all the crap that we are exposed to in growing up, have very poor linings in the stomach, in the small intestine, and the colon. Probiotic needs mucus. So if you look at the lining of the colon, it's kind of just a tube, and the tube has to have some mucousy layers in it. Otherwise, there's no place for the little bacteria to hide and to exist. Think of the Petri dish when you were a kid in science class. Petri dish has that cushiony stuff of red, whatever it is, gelatin, and you swab your throat swab on it and you grow bacteria. Well, think of the lining of the colon, that long 20 to 27 foot tube, as having a little bit of jelly around it. That's where the bacteria hide. So the probiotic you eat, if you don't have a good layer of mucus, you're going to just be wasting the probiotic. So if you don't have that, then you build it up. There's a product by Orthomolecular called Mucosagen, really good stuff. It rebuilds, gets you mucousy. Caution though, if you're making a lot of mucus, phlegm, or nose snot, it can actually increase that. So you don't want to take it too long. You just want to get that layer going prior to using the seeds of the probiotic in your gut. And more importantly, after you get the mucus layer going, again, orthomolecular mucosogen, you want to increase your fiber content. So fiber, whether you do it, this is one of the fiber forms. I think I did this in DrRic tutorial fiber number 4. And I have psyllium for fiber number 3 and a couple other options or suggestions. You can do fiber in that form, but you can do fiber in this form, whether it's green leafy vegetables or fruits and veggies, anything from a tree, whether it's the fruit that comes from a tree, which is the energy of a tree, or the roots and leaves, the bark, whatever it is, that's fiber. And we might not be able to digest fiber, but the probiotic will be able to take advantage of the fiber, and that's their food. Think of a probiotic as fish, and think of fiber as fish food. Because if you don't have any fiber, like you're doing a paleo diet or a keto diet, and you take probiotics, guess what the probiotics are going to eat? They're going to eat your lining, the mucus layer of the lining, because they need that energy. And then you're going to have problems with inflammation. When they eat all that stuff up, you have no barrier, and then when you have no barrier in that tube, then proteins, enzymes, they get into the lining, and you have this allergic reaction. Skin problems, autoimmune disease, a whole bunch of stuff. So this happens to be one I picked up at Fruitful Yield, Thrive. And this is one species, and I like the work of Justin Sonnenburg. He was on for the government-funded study on microbiota, the human microbiota project. So he found great information in his studies. To declare that there is a wide range or a wide variety of different bacteria in the colon, and they're supposed to be mostly in the colon, a little bit in the small intestine. And we found that depending on the food, you might have what food you're having versus me versus somebody else, you have a different population in your gut. And if you change your food like the Hadza used to, they have different sets of bacteria, dominant bacteria for different times of the year. But they're hunter-gatherers, and they wander. So you'll see that healthy populations have different bacteria than unhealthy populations. Just like I mentioned about the fecal transplant, if you take bacteria from a obese and you put it into a skinny, the skinny becomes obese. That tells you that the messages that those 100 trillion, I believe, genes of totally foreign bacteria, foreign DNA will do to the lining of the gut, they'll send messages out, and they'll cause reactions in the body that will either support the body or destroy the body. And bacteria are supposed to be communal. They're supposed to help the host, not supposed to harm the host. But you also have to feed those little guys. So high fiber, wide variety of different fibers. It's fine to take meat. I don't have a problem with that. But I would suggest a whole food, mostly plant-based diet. So the concept of the spore, having a bacteria in a spore, the concept is the spore will get through harsh environments like the gastric acids. The stomach acid will destroy a lot of stuff. Won't destroy everything. I mean, hepatitis gets through there, so does E. coli. So acid destroys a lot. And if you get this kind of probiotic in an acid environment or hostile environment, it spores. It covers itself up into a cocoon, and you can't touch that cocoon until it gets way down to the small intestine and the colon, and then it blossoms out of the cocoon and it becomes a bacteria. Now, there are certain bacteria that help. If they're the dominant strain that you have for the month, it'll help support the other bacteria in the colon. There are also other strains like C. difficile that really destroy the lining and destroy the other populations in the colon. So it has to be a wide variety. I take different ones. I'm experimenting with this now, and I did Saccharomyces before this, and I did a wide variety of others. I actually will choose whatever's on sale, but I'll read the labels and I have my criteria. So look at my DrRic tutorial Probiotic 1 and 2. So as far as whether you need Spore, I like the ideas that the Spore companies say, because it gets through the hostile environment and it can spore and protect itself and support the small intestine and the lining. But if that's the case and we buy that theory, that means all the other probiotics that don't spore, which there's lots on the shelves, that means they all get destroyed. And like you guys, you probably felt some pretty decent results with taking probiotics. Whether you have IBS or mental fogginess or chronic pain, some of you have taken probiotics and probably found some nice results. So I wouldn't say stop. It's worth an experiment to do that, but just like that concept with the Hadza having different dominant species in their gut at different times of the year, I think it's wise to always have proper digestion, always have inflammation taken care of, always have a prebiotic source, and then I think it's important to vary your probiotics. I wouldn't stay with just one. I think that if you take enough and you have a good environment, you should be able to pull back and support and sustain that population, that mixture, the colony by itself. Some would say you have to keep on incubating every couple of days or every couple of months. The information's still out there. I'll put a link to Justin Sonnenburg. I love his work. But it's up to you. I think there's so many other things that require us to be ingested. Omega-3 fish oil, vitamin D, turmeric. That adding another thing is a pain in the ass, but but I think that in the long run, the colon will get benefit from it. So if you can pick and choose, if I had my top 3 or top 5, I'd include probiotic. But again, it has to be affordable, and some of these things can be really expensive. So hopefully this helped, John. But if you have any questions, post them down below. If you have your own successes, your own thoughts, post them down below. Otherwise, thanks for listening. I'll see you in the clinic.